Here's a short story about a husband who definitely handles things like a boss after his wife pushed him too far. How'd she push him too far? Well, you're going to see that his wife her behavior, as he describes her, she sounds a lot like a Karen. I have to spell that out. Trust me, that's just the way YouTube is. And has always given him a hard time saying he's not masculine enough for her. And finally, she pushes him too far, and he shows her he's quite masculine by leaving her. Now, you're going to see in his story that he has some hobbies and interests that definitely will make you laugh and say, geez, dude. But he also has other things. He's quite the manly man. He's quite the guy's guy. And I'll be going to go over here to show you guys that it's never too late. And if you got a wife or girlfriend disrespecting you, it's best to walk away and not stay in that situation. Titled, I, a 42-year-old male, left my wife after she kept making comments about me not being manly enough and not sure I did the right thing. He says, we've been together since we were 18 years old. She was my first everything, and whereas she'd been with a few people before me. There's a surprise. We have an 18-year-old daughter together who is an amazing, brilliant, and kind person. I could have asked for a better kid. The last few years, my wife has been making the odd comment about my manliness, etc. And I've just brushed it off, but she really just stepped it up lately last year, and I ended up leaving her about 3 months ago over it. Well, if your significant other is insulting you, and you know when it's an insult, number one, you need to check her, stand up for yourself, and if you can tell she's serious and it's unwarranted, time for an exit strategy, because that's not someone who behaves like they love you, let alone respects you. I don't want to sound like this is a humble brag, but I do think I'm quite manly, while also just being a normal person. I'm tall, I work out a few days a week, I can do any do-it-yourself around the house, I can fix cars, I used to be an amateur boxer and cage fighter and still do it as a hobby, to keep fit. The things she said that aren't manly about me are the following. I like to bake, I like to cook, I don't drink, and I don't care if other people do it, it's just not for me. If he can fix things around the house, and he can work on and fix cars, most guys can't do that. So if he likes to cook, and by the way, lots of dudes like to cook. Last time I checked, grilling is cooking, and grilling ain't a womanly thing. And I don't care if he likes to bake. Shit, I like a cake. I like cookies. I don't eat it very often. Nothing wrong with that. Sounds like wifey here is just looking for an excuse to give him a hard time. Now here's something he says now that I can see where she's giving him shit. He also says, I like Taylor Swift, Charlie XCX, Ariana Grande, and Sabrina Carpenter, etc. Smack! Yeah, you earned that one. But my main choice in music will always be rap, but having a teenage daughter, these sort of artists get played, and I sort of like their songs, so I listen to them. I don't see that as a bad thing. Okay, so he has a teenage daughter, she's playing the music, he's probably spending time with her in the car going someplace or hearing her play. He's like, alright, that song's not bad, or that song's not bad. You get the point. These are small potatoes. Overwhelmingly, he has other things about him that makes him a guy's guy. But I want to go around bragging about Taylor Swift. He says, I have a powerful car and a motorcycle, but my preferred method of transport is a VW Up. It's a small car with a little engine, but if it's just me and my gym bag or work bag, I don't see a problem. Plus, I'm not one of them who feels like the car someone drives means anything. My ex-wife disagreed and said I give off a certain vibe in it. Him talking about he goes to the gym in a very small car, and now his wife's insulting him because he's not driving some, F350 or something like that. My best friend for years, who I trained with martial arts, the toughest guy I ever knew, Marine, no longer serving as a Marine, but you're always a Marine. This dude started in martial arts in his very late 40s. If he started in his 20s, he would have gone pro. The toughest, most badass dude ever known. He drove this tiny-ass little car. This little thing he barely fit into. The dude was 6'3", 220. Nobody ever call him would insult his manliness. He'd tear your head off. I tend to walk. He says also, I tend to walk away from arguments with strangers. My wife perceives any slight as a personal insult. If you cut in front of her in traffic, she's leaning on the horn. Don't say thank you if you hold the door open. She's screaming and shouting at you. I just prefer to let things slide. An example is someone being obnoxious to me on a night out for no reason. Well, I'm going to stop there. So, if somebody cuts you off in traffic, I'm going to honk at them. But there's a difference between honking at them for being an a-hole and reckless and one of these people that will hold the horn down and follow them all down the street with the horn down. You ever seen those types? That's a confrontational a-hole. Or if somebody, you hold the door, you're walking into some store and you hold the door open and nobody says thank you. I've had times where I go, you're welcome. But I don't yell and scream at him and throw a fit like his wife. His wife's a miserable Karen. Now listen, he says one day he was out somewhere and some obnoxious drunk guy was giving him a hard time. He says he was in my face, called me all sorts of names, and even pushed me a couple times. Well, that ain't good. I just smiled at him and walked away saying, I hope he gets home safely. When we got home, my wife said I embarrassed her in front of her friends by letting him talk to me like that. I said, what's the point of me knocking out a drunk kid who's half my size? She said, I'm a doormat for the world. Now, let me say this. You got to pick and choose your battles in life. And if somebody is in your face and they put their hands on you and they're shoving you, in my opinion, the second somebody puts their hands on you and makes you feel threatened, you have every right to knock them senseless. However, the law doesn't see it that way. There are some states that are stand your ground, and there's other states that somebody could literally be punching you. And you punch them back, and the cops come, they're arresting you too. I used to live in a place like that called Massachusetts. And so this guy's seeing the situation as, yeah, I could take this guy's head off as I did amateur boxing when I was younger and still do martial arts for exercise and everything. But you know what? Maybe he lives in a place where they would arrest him too. And some ambitious young district attorney would see that he did martial arts and amateur boxing and would use that to prosecute. Really? So maybe that's the case. That's why he just walked away. I don't know. I still believe somebody puts their hands on you and there's no witnesses and the cops aren't around, you got a right to take them down. But anyhow, the wife is now after him. Now maybe she felt unsafe by him doing that. I don't know. But who knows? You can tell she's an asshole. There are a few other things mainly connected to stuff me and my daughter have in common. Stupid social media videos. She says like living with 2 teenage girls. In September, I left her. Good for you, dude. I said, I can't be spoken to like that anymore and be belittled. It's not fair to me. Even then, she had a dig and said a real man would change. She's changed her tune since and says she's willing to go to therapy, both individual and couples, to try and sort out her issues. Nope, not dealing with it. I put up with your ass long enough, and our daughter is 18. I'm leaving your ass. Now, as you can tell, this guy is a little too passive for me. There's a happy medium. But then again, he's married to a super confrontational, hot-headed type A. And there are type A people that aren't hotheads, but type A as well. Karen. Who knows? He's the balance. But you got to stand up for yourself, and clearly he hasn't at times. And that's a problem. But he's done. And I say good. I don't know if the cuts from things that she said are too deep enough. Since I've left, I felt more relaxed and happier. I don't have to worry when I put a song on or want to bake a cake or cook something what would be said. At the same time, though it's scary, as all I've known as being alone and meeting new people scare the crap out of me, and I've never done that before. Everything is telling me I'm on the right path, but I have a feeling, a doubt in my head, that all those words she spoke about me are true, and I'm an annoying person that will be alone forever. So that's how it wraps up. And let me tell you something, guys. The whole comment section is pretty funny, is full of women saying, I'd date you, I'll marry you, where do you live? And they claim they're joking, but I guarantee some are serious. And singing his praises and saying, all right, so what, you like to cook or bake? Who cares? We like the fact that you are unapologetically yourself and you do manly things. And they say things like, shit, my husband or boyfriend can't fix things around the house or work on the car. And so, yeah, this guy has his traits that we can all laugh at. But this dude, he's more of a manly guy in terms of his abilities than most guys out there. And he sounds like a good guy. He needs to work on standing up for himself, but anyhow, he showed his ultimate manliness by walking away from his wife. And I bet you the real reason she's upset that he's gone is now she has to cook. Or now she has to fix things. Or she's alone and looks like a fool. Or she's 42 years old and her prime's gone by a long time ago, and she can't get guys. And this guy probably has her friends all interested in him. That's what he needs to do, bang one of her friends. But anyhow, guys, the way I see this, if somebody's treating you with disrespect quite regularly, and they don't care, they don't love you, they don't care about you, and it's best to break up and move on. And now that his daughter's 18, hey, great, no problem. Will he take a hit in the divorce? Sure, of course the guys take a hit in the divorce. But it's better than being married to Monica from Friends on steroids than And by the way, he said that he is quite happy at peace and relaxed alone, as so many guys are when they're alone. So good for this guy.